This is Robert Goodman for Positive Strokes. Today I want to talk about our past. As we live life on life's terms and we've experienced things in our lives, in our past, that were negative or we made bad choices in our lives, people tend to hold that against us in our present and in our future. They look at us as the same person that they experienced when we made bad choices. They feel that we are the same person, that we have not changed, or we don't have the proper outlook on life, that we need guidance and direction from them to do things their way. But the interesting thing is that each person is unique. Everybody is different. No two people are the same. So, how can a person know what's good for another person if they haven't walked in their shoes or experienced the things that they've experienced in their lives? What works good for you may not work good for someone else because you're a different human being, you're a different person. There's a saying, actions speak louder than words. If people stop judging at people and making decisions and directions that they feel that's best for that person, how is it that you know what's best? Is your life greater than theirs? Do you have credentials in psychology? Do you have credentials in peer support to support a person? Do you have the schooling and the knowledge to give someone the proper information that will help them along their way? Or are you just a regular person that experiences things and think that your way is the best way, but you don't have the schooling or the education or the proper information to direct the person in the proper manner that they need to have? It's sad that people, I see in Arizona, they have the homeless situation and they're not moving fast enough to move the people out of the zone where they had over 1,000 people. But the interesting thing is that they moved 300 people to a better life, which takes time. I understand the neighbors are upset because of the type of traffic and situations that they experience around their business or their homes and the area and stuff, and I understand that immensely. But if you want to solve the problem, you must get at the root of the problem. You could chase everybody away in record time, but they'll end up finding another spot in another area to do the same thing until they get chased away from that area and so on. So basically, what that is putting a band aid on a wound that needs stitches. Nobody wants to excel in doing the right thing because it's easier to pass the buck. It's easier to look at the bad things that people do and they've experienced. It's easier to look at the what they done, but how they got there is not important to you. The trauma that got to them where they're at today, it's not important to you. They supposed to be well, they supposed to move on with their lives and everything is good, but you don't know what they've experienced in their lives for them to be the person they are today. No idea. Let's go talk about people in the service that come back from the service, veterans. Um, they've experienced some things that a lot of normal people could not even handle or come out of. How would you act if you're in a combat situation and the person that you've been with in the area, that fellow soldier, that y'all been together for like 7, 8 months and you have created a bond? And you're sitting down there eating your rations, and all of a sudden, his head is gone, and half his brain matter flies into your food. How is that supposed to affect you? That's a heavy pill. Or there are circumstances that I know that a platoon went in on a mission and only 3 people came out alive. How is that supposed to affect another human being? You come back here looking for support and help, and you're forgotten. You're forgotten about what you did. Or they have the basics, help for you and whatsoever, but you did your job. They let you go. Your time is up. You get a paycheck from the service, and that's it. But how does that affect the person seeing these type of unbelievable things? How about the homeless person? Some of them have been raped by family members, so they go to the streets for refuge. Some of them, their parents just let them go because they've been a problem to them that was making their life uncomfortable, so they rather let them go and forget about them and move on with their life without their children. Or it could be that a parent, the 2 parents are not getting along, and it's a constant war the child runs looking for a better life. We don't know what a person goes through or what experience unless they give us the information. Some people think that just because you experienced and that was so long ago that it's okay, that you should be good now, but that has no effect on you. No, untrue. Everything that happens to a person has an effect on you, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. How about the husband or the wife One of them's cheating. How does that have an effect on one of the partners being cheated? He begins to have trust issues. You don't trust people. You don't trust the opposite sex because he's been done wrong. Or have they been abandoned, tossed aside? They tell you they love you, but they abandon you, and you live your life on learning what you see and trying to make the best decisions in your life. So, I say all this to say that it's time for people to have compassion. They say if you have not walked a mile in a person's shoes, how do you know you will come out with the same answer that's coming out of your mouth? Life is hard, but it's fair. That's what was told to me a long time ago. Do you go out of your way to do all you can to help others? And the people that you try to help and you try to do things for treat you like a portrait on the wall. Just walk by, it's there, but you're not important. But what you do is important. Interesting, isn't it? Each person looks at things in a different light, express themselves in a different light, and judge others. In the Bible, if you're a Christian, it says, do not judge, or you'll be judged by the same measure that you judge others. So right away, if you believe in a good book, it tells you don't judge nobody. You don't have the right to. You did not create a person. You do not know what's on their mind. You don't know what they've been through. You have an idea, but you don't know how it affected them. I believe that showing compassion is a hard thing to do, even when people don't care or show how much love and concern you give to them. It's like you be riding, you get off the freeway and you see a sign, there's a guy out there. And you give him a couple of dollars, and he packs the sign up and he's gone. Next day he's back out there with the sign. We don't know what he's going to do with that money. We don't know if he's going to get food. We don't know if he's going to get drugs. We don't know what he's going to do. But as some people ride by that person and see him standing there, or see that female standing there, or that male standing there, and they see him, they make a judgment call. Now look at him, take care. He can't take care of himself. Just homeless. Just all he want to do is do drugs. He want to steal and rob, but you don't know what got him to the point of that. You don't know what made him be in the light that he is today. Think about your significant other. What has life done to them to cause them to be who they are today? What have they experienced in their life that was negative that caused them to act a certain way? Something to think about. You know, they say that love covers a multitude of sin, but it doesn't mean that you can't see what's good and what's bad. Like it was told to me, you got to take the sunglasses off so you can see the reality of life. It's just like you see commercial about a getaway, a cruise, or to another country where it's so beautiful and everything is so right. And you just want to go there and just enjoy all that. But do you sit back and think that that's just a ploy to get you there to check it out, get you to spend your money? Did you do your research and find out everything is above board and it is like what they say it is? Do you check out what's going on in that country or in that area to make sure that it's safe to go there? Are you just jumping on a whim? Do you have a backup plan if stuff goes sour? Suppose you go to another country and something happens. What's your what's your plan? Do you have a plan in effect? Steps that you can do to make sure you cover it fully. Do you know how many people disappear on vacations? Have you done your research in different countries? Disappear. I say all this to say that you can't take everything at just the way it looks or it's being said. Actions speak louder than words. So it's Wednesday, hump day, and I know a lot of y'all are just trying to get over that hump and deal with the life that you have to deal with, and maybe you get paid once a week and it's coming up on Friday, maybe you get bi-weekly and you'll have a little change to do some of the things that you like to do, treat yourself. But I'm just saying this. Life is in session at all times. I suggest that instead of a vacation, have a vacation at home. Yeah. Do some things around your house that needs to be done. Make your house different. You've been living there for so long, it's time to change it up, make it look different. Maybe it's time to get rid of some of that old stuff that you've been holding on to. Make it look spacious and not junky. Maybe your kids are gone into their new life and you still got their room all the same way. You can make that a office, a little den. Oh, for you women, put your makeup and your clothes and all that. your your closet, because women have more clothes than men do. So there's so many things that you can do. Make your home a pleasure to come home to when you get off work. Hmm. You know, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say that. There's a saying in recovery: rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. If you do the right thing for yourself, if you change the behavior of yourself, if you work on yourself, your life will get better and your life will be better around others. The more you work on yourself, the greater your gifts are going to come and your blessings. But if you think you know everything and you want to give all the information because you feel like you're that knowledgeable and your way is the right way, then you're going to find out that you're taking the focus off yourself and your life is not going to get better. It's just putting a band-aid on a certain situation, but the wound is still open. I just wanted to share these things with you to let you know that life is in session at all times. You're going to have good days, bad days, and different days. Um, People are going to hurt you. Family members are going to turn their back on you at certain situations you can't depend on. But this life, everybody has a right to make a decision for themselves, about themselves. You know, in recovery, they say we were we admit we were powerless over alcohol and drugs, that our lives had become unmanageable. But I want to change that and say we are powerless over people that make our lives unmanageable. People, friends, maybe family, who knows? Everybody's situation is different. I'm gonna tell you a story, true story. Perception. I want you to really think about this perception. There was a gentleman, me and him was tight. He was older than me. He was an older cat, way older than me. But he taught me about life. He taught me about the streets. He taught me how to make money. He showed me how to live and stand on my own 2 feet. Well, anyway, we was at a club in New York. This was many moons ago. And we drinking and having a nice time. And we went outside and he seen his girlfriend. But his girlfriend was like 30 years younger than he was. And he seen her near the car, and I'm smoking a cigarette, and we're sitting there and standing there outside the club, having a good old time. And he see her reach in the car and give this man a kiss. Perception. He swore she was cheating on him with that man. his perception. He walked over to the car and blew his brains out. Perception. Acting on not all the facts. Come to find out, he just shot her cousin. Dead. Took a life, lost the relationship because he got life in prison. Perception. Just because you see things a certain way doesn't mean it is that way. Perception. I say this to know before you speak. This is Robert Goodman for Positive Strokes. Remember, you can be the best that you can be for yourself if you put the work in. Because that's all that's important about. Being the best that you can be for yourself. It doesn't matter what another person thinks or how they feel. Because see, when you go on the ground, you're going on the ground by yourself. I ain't never seen nobody go on the ground together. Oh yeah, you see a couple of movies where people commit suicide together because they're in love. You might some rare cases that you may hear that happen like that commit suicide together. There are some. It's a small percentage, but it's not a big percentage. But the point I'm trying to make is, instead of making their decisions about what's going on around us, if we keep the focus on our own selves and work on ourselves, then we'll be an example to others that will follow our path for the betterment of ourselves.